The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program, and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ. Good morning.
Good morning. And before we go to Commander COVID, there is something that has to take precedence. Today is 9/11. So I think we should all take a moment, because I'm going to talk about that after the COVID. But just remember what happened today.
19 years ago today.
Yep. And I remember it vividly. I was on duty, and it was really something. There were 2,977 victims in the towers. 343 firefighters died. 37 police officers. And I think we have to reflect on that. And after the COVID virus, I'm going to have a little bit to say about what this day signifies and how it contrasts with what's going on in America today. I'm not going to talk about the city too much today. My little part of the world is going to be, because I knew some people who died in those towers. They were union people who I worked with from the New York local. So with that being said, everybody think about today. And CJ, give us the numbers.
All righty. And today is a very somber day for people that remember. Massachusetts' total number of cases is 121,759. New cases was 363. Total deaths was 8,957, with new deaths being 20. Bristol County had 9,448 new cases. Fall River, on the other hand, had 13 more cases added yesterday, bringing us to a total of 1,996 cases, and we've had no new fatalities, so we remain at 127 deaths. If you notice and you look at this carefully, you will see that the numbers have been going up in the double-digit category the past week to 10 days. Here's the problem. And I said it back then, and I'll say it again now. The first time we had a drive-in, we had a slight increase in cases. Now we've had the drive-in again, we have increases in cases. Is it coincidence? Maybe. But one way or another, it still makes sense to me when I call this mayor the mayor of death. And if these numbers keep going up, which I suspect they will, okay, I want to know why this mayor keeps promoting these type of events, including the gatherings at the city parks all over the city. You know, when you've got 25, 30 people playing basketball, you're not social distancing. There's a problem. So that's my rant for that.
Well, but you're right, CJ. Actually, before we get to the little 9/11 and the contrast, you're right, because I think New Bedford just went into the red zone. They just fined a church $6,000 who were following the protocols, which is government taking away the right to practice your religion, but they'll allow rioters to run around the streets and have as many demonstrations as they'd like in this demented society that we've had now. And obviously, I got a call. Remember, I talked about going by the basketball courts up near Truesdale Clinic.
Yep.
I got another call. Someone drove by there and said there must have been 100 people on those courts. I don't know if they've got a league going or what. I mean, no, there was no social distancing. Nobody had a mask on. Everybody was walking around, sitting together, watching games, talking about the game, playing in the games. And okay, if that's their prerogative, can't preach freedom. But then again, let the government impose the sanctions on these people. Let them break up this crowd, or at least go in there and get their contact information. Because if they want to totally disregard any kind of protocols for safety, well, they have to be held accountable. They should be, or either they're going to be held accountable or say to hell with it, let everybody do anything they want, not just restrict businesses, churches, gyms, and force them to close and fine them while you're letting other segments of the population run amok. I mean, you closed hairdressing salons, but Nancy Pelosi can get her hair done. And all the politicians manage to get what they need, while the rest of the society is denied it. So, you're right. There's a double standard here. See, and that's what disturbs me.
Right.
A double standard. If you want to apply something, make it for everybody, like the military. One guy wears a field jacket, everybody wears a field jacket. One guy takes off his field jacket, everybody has to take off the field jacket. That's what you do when there's an order. If there's laws, there's laws. If these conditions have to apply, they have to apply to everybody. That's at least my opinion.
Maybe it's time that the mayor consider going back to no basketball hoops in the city again. It's looking like we're going to go that way, because if next Wednesday these numbers keep increasing the way they're going, next Wednesday we could be in the red zone, which means nobody goes back to school. So remember that, Mr. Mayor.
No, you're right, CJ. And this is where it gets to me. You know how I like to analyze everything. So I'm looking at these, and I know you predicted this, but how many of these whole bunch of people, like when I went by there had to be 50, 75 people there. This person said 100. Maybe it was a little low. Maybe it was lower. Maybe it was higher. Who knows? But how many of those people, and most of those people obviously are young, and they're in a population that doesn't have a lot of serious COVID, but they can be carrying it. No contact. We don't know how many directions these people went into the community. So, maybe if you really looked closely, some of these people are really responsible for these upticks in cases, because they leave that basketball court and they don't go lock themselves in the house. Because if they're going to go there and play basketball with 40 or 50 other people, you really think they're staying at home when they leave the court? I don't think so.
No,
and so, I mean, these are the kind of things that disturb me. And then, so we can segue into something you said about 9/11. Those who remember. And I was watching some of the ceremony today. And, the theme was, we will never forget. And, as someone who obviously has an extremely personal attachment to this day, I watched those. I was called out of my office at the station after the first plane hit the tower, and I watched the entire thing unfold at the Globe Fire Station. And obviously, I put together the first 9/11 memorial a year later, and this holds a really special place for me because it shows the sacrifice, and it's extremely disturbing to me because people have forgotten, and they haven't. Maybe they can remember the date, but they don't remember the spirit of 9/11. They don't remember what happened after 9/11 when people came together. There was no black national anthem, which is discriminatory because we have a nation within a nation. Are we going to allow the Nazi, are we going to allow the American Nazi Party anthem to be played at football games too? That's a divisive thing, and it's discriminatory. It discriminates against everybody who isn't black. All people are equal. The national anthem is for everybody. And what have we forgotten? Those police officers who died, the police officers who were standing there directing people away from the Twin Towers with their lives in jeopardy, the police officers who died, the firefighters who died, the EMS personnel who died, the civilians who died. Do you think any firefighter or police officer or emergency medical personnel asked what color their victims were, what race they were, what ethnicity they were when they ran into those buildings? No, but nobody gives a shit anymore. These entitled white yuppies that arrested in New York, all of whom are from rich families, they've got nothing better to do. They go to college. Their college professors told them, what's so bad about America? This is an inherently racist country. This is really a bad country. Well, what we're looking at today and what we're remembering today shows how good this country really is. Because every single individual that went into that building didn't have to. The firefighters could have taken one look at that building and said, hell no, I'm not going in. The police officers could have said the same thing. Hell no, I'm not going in. As did the emergency personnel. That was America at its best. Today, we're seeing America at its worst, dividing everybody by race, ethnicity. It's reverse discrimination to say Black Lives Matter because it doesn't include all the other lives. Firefighters didn't go up there and discriminate against anybody. They rescued everybody they could, and they died doing it. Many died, 343. Police officers died, 37 New York police officers, and I believe a couple from New Jersey also died. But this is the thing. This is the difference. And you want to defund the same people who do this, and you want to paint them with a brush. Are they bad? Are there bad police officers? Absolutely. Are there bad firefighters? Absolutely. Are there bad plumbers, electricians, Uber drivers? Yes, there are. But America is inherently good. Isn't it amazing that the country, all these entitled rich yuppies and people looking for a handout or demonstrating for, making this a political thing because of an election, tearing this country apart, trying to get rid of the very people who sacrificed their lives 19 years ago. To me, this is outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. I walked in too many funerals of police officers and firefighters who died in the line of duty, not only in Fall River, but all over Massachusetts, Rhode Island, the area. I did it too long, too many times in my career. We sent 3 busloads of firefighters to Worcester to honor the Worcester firefighters who died in a warehouse fire. I've gone to far too many of these things. I've seen far too much sacrifice from police officers and firefighters to shit all over them the way they're doing today. It's a disgrace, and the mainstream media is despicable because they're nothing more than a political propaganda machine for the left and the entitled. And I saw something, and I'm going to end with this, and you can take over because I've monopolized a lot of the time, but this is really personal to me. And I saw someone today who paraphrased Nehemiah's famous quote about the Holocaust. They came for the Catholics, and I said nothing because I wasn't a Catholic. And she said something to the effect of, they came for the Republicans, and I said nothing, and they came for this and they came for that. And then she said, And when they came for me, there was no one left to speak. And this was people talking about the Democratic Party being taken over by the radical left. We have seen in elections recently liberal Democrats who have been in Congress for years being taken out by progressives. They want to take over the country and basically turn this thing into a socialist country. So, as predicted, and it's happened throughout history, and what happened in the Holocaust, first they pick off the other people, and when they get done picking them off, they're coming for you, regular Democrats, because they have an agenda, a lunatic agenda, in my opinion, but they have an agenda. And this country will forever be divided if they control our government, because they do nothing but divide. You're either for the Green Deal or you're a Nazi. You're either for everything they agree with or you do not have the right to speak. You're a fascist. So this is the country that millions of people are trying to come to, and they are doing nothing but, as I said, defecating all over the sacrifices and what Americans have built. And frankly, I'm tired of it. And I don't give a damn what happens because I said it. Because I said it and I mean it. All lives matter. All men are created, men and women are created equal. And unless you can recognize that fact, you're not worth a shit. That's it. I'm done. I can't hear you, CJ. I think your mic's muted.
Here's I said, very good. We know where you stand now. Here's one of the things that people may not know or may have forgotten. People today are still dying from the 9/11 incident. And people don't understand this. Those first responders that were on site, those people that were affected when those towers fell, because that was a lot of debris that was kicked up into the air, including things like asbestos and everything else. People are still dying from respiratory ailments, from cancers, and it all can be tracked back to the 9/11 incident. And you have to wonder, why have people forgotten those people? We remember everything that happened on 9/11, supposedly. We're supposed to. I mean, I remember exactly where I was. I lived one block down the street. I hadn't bought the house yet. And I was drinking my coffee when I saw the first plane strike the tower. And I honestly thought I might be in a fantasy world. I was like, no planes hit the towers. You know, that just doesn't happen. And then when the second plane hit the tower, I knew there was a definite situation going on. And people can remember where they were, some people. But I know that my youngest was born after 9/11. So she doesn't even know what the Twin Towers were. She has no idea what 9/11 was about until she was taught and it was explained. But that's what people are forgetting. They're forgetting to teach the young ones, the new people that are coming out that have no idea what 9/11 is. And I was surprised, very, very surprised, that Congress has yet to turn around. They'll make, the 19th, Juneteenth or whatever they want to call it, a holiday, but they won't make 9/11 a holiday of remembrance. There's a problem with that. And I think it should be a holiday of remembrance. Because we need to remember. Because when we forget our history, okay, we're destined to repeat it. And you cannot erase this from history. You just can't do it. And when you consider
Well, you're right.
When you consider the fact that a plane load of passengers were not going to be victims, even though they died, they fought to take back their plane. And that plane crashed in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, but they fought to take their plane back. They weren't going to be victims. They weren't going to be victims.
You're right. And I'm going to tell you, CJ, you hit it right. And amazingly, because you know how I like to research stuff, certain things. And you're right, because right now there have been 4,166 cases of cancer that are directly related to 9/11. So if you take that 4,166 and add to the victims in the towers, that brings the grand total to over 7,000 civilians who have died or are dying because of 9/11. That you were 100% right. I just had to get that in because that is extremely telling, and that therein lies the problem, that we have forgotten that this was one nation under God, indivisible. But it has, and this is what's happening. And I don't care if you're a Trump supporter or you're a Biden supporter. You should be an American supporter first. America was created as a melting pot. You were supposed to come to America and become an American. And that transcended everything else, race, color, creed, everything. That's why America was created. And we don't, because this is discriminatory. We've actually created a system of apartheid. And if you don't know what apartheid is, please look it up. It was normally applied to South Africa, but we're creating a series of apartheid. So I'm going to read the definition of discrimination: the unjust or prejudicial treatment of different categories of people or things, especially on the grounds of race, age, or sex. But that says unjust treatment of a group of people, of categories of people, which includes police officers. That's absolutely discriminating to say that all police officers are racist, that all white people have white privilege, that all people, and how about so we have a black national anthem. Let's get an American Nazi Party national anthem or a Chinese national anthem, and let's do all of this to divide this country further and rip it away from its own history. What made this country great was everybody who picked up a rifle in the Revolutionary War and everybody who's picked up a rifle ever since was fighting for America, an America where we were under one flag, we had one national anthem, and we pulled together when the times got tough. And today is the day that proved it. Because 19 years ago, when those planes hit, America came together. They were galvanized in a cause. And this is gone in today. These politicians that stay up in Washington forever and then begin to break off into tribes. Now the progressive tribe is taking over the Democratic Party. And you know something? I'm almost in a way happy that they're booting them out. But I'm not going to be happy with the result if they ever gain power. But the reality is now they're feeding off themselves. So, and I like that litany. Did you see the mug shots of the people they arrested in New York and their backgrounds?
Yeah.
Yeah. Child psychologist, daughter of a child psychologist and architect, going to some yuppie school where the professors who are living in their academic bubble, getting their big money pays, are telling them how bad this country is while they go back to their gated communities. And then they go cause riots and condemn everybody and tell the poor guy that hasn't worked in 4 months because of the COVID that he's privileged. Yeah, he got the privilege to lose his job and maybe his house. So forgive me if I think that they're full. They got their head so far up their butt that the sun don't shine.
Well, it's difficult with what's going on, and I remember very clearly Tuesday, September 11th, 2001. It was a Tuesday. A lot of people probably don't remember that, but it was a Tuesday. And I look back now to what happened here in the United States 4 or 5 months ago, maybe 6 months ago, 7 months ago, 8 months ago, when we started talking about COVID. Did this country come together? Did this country pull together and say, okay, let's work on this together? No. And then we had one person who died while being apprehended by police. And all of a sudden, we have race riots going on. Is that bringing the country together? No, it's not bringing the country together. The country needs to be unified. The country needs to be focused on what is important and making that happen. I am so tired of hearing this needs to happen, that needs to happen. We need to recognize these people. We recognize that these people. We divide. We divide. Okay, I don't care if you identify as black, red, green, yellow, purple. When you say that you divide yourself from the rest of this country, if you identify as trans or LGBTQ or whatever the case may be, you are identifying yourself as part of your group, but you're dividing yourself from the rest of the country. The people need to understand one thing. If you are a part of this country and you want to be recognized as part of this country, you need to be unified with this country, not divided. Not divided. And something that keeps coming up, which bothers me, especially today, is that people are talking about the fact that we get yelled and screamed and hollered at for these parties and lack of social distancing and all this other stuff. And that's by the Democrats. But when there's rioting and looting and race riots, the Democrats turn around and say, "Oh, that's okay. They're expressing their rights." No, they're criminals. Any way you look at it, they're criminals. And that's not bringing the country together. Use 9/11 as the stepping stone, if you want to use that term, on unifying this country. We were unified after 9/11. More unified than we've ever been before. And since that time, we've now become less unified. It's time for us to become more unified, and we need to stay that way.
Well, yeah, you're right, and this is the thing, and it's ironic because we had it once, and that's what happens when. And I'm trying to remember the quote. Good men make bad times good. Bad times make good men rise to the occasion. And ultimately, what it really means is that ultimately, when you give people too much, they have too much time on their hands, like the Roman Empire. You look at what Theodore Roosevelt said so many years ago when he had his famous speech on hyphenated Americans, and I was trying to look it up, but it's just too. Well, I can give you the gist of it. He said, "There's no such thing as a hyphenated American. There's no such thing as an Irish American or a French American or whatever kind of American." He said, "Everybody has to be an American for this country to work," and it's true. The reason that it's always worked was once you came to this nation and became an American, you were an American, and that's why you could always. We could always function. We won 2 world wars fighting as Americans, and because we fought together. And as you said, all we do now is divide. And yet they say this is the America they want is not America. That's the key.
Exactly.
The America they want is divided. And,
right.
9/11,
Chip,
I'm seeing we're running out of time, but listen.
We got to call it.
Respect
Chip.
your police.
Yep, we're out of time. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you on Monday. And remember, stay safe, stay angry, and take some time to think about 9/11. Thank you for watching.